and an extra warm welcome to everyone, especially to those who are joining us for the first time, who are maybe even new to Recovery Dharma, maybe people who are new to the Buddhist practice. An extra warm welcome to you. Today's sentiment of metta, of loving kindness. Oh, I love this one. This one was made by Lo. We did a mantra making class. This one has a bunch of doodles on it. It's so wonderful. And Lo writes, "May you sweet talk yourself. May you sweet talk yourself." It's so perfect for the meditation that I'd like to share with you today. And so I encourage you to drop into the body with some very gentle awareness and allow your body to relax in whatever posture feels full of ease. And that can mean lying down. It can also mean movement. So for those of you who are online especially, it's really important to acknowledge that there's a time for stillness and there's a time for movement. And sometimes on the journey, we need to make those decisions for ourselves. So if you feel called to move, just turn your camera off and shake it out, go for a walk, do your dishes, whatever's calling to you, and allow that to be part of your meditation today. If, on the other hand, in the body, stillness is available to you, I just encourage you to slowly resume a posture where the heart can be open. So the shoulders are rolled back gently. The hands are resting comfortably by the side of the body or in your lap. You may find a gentle gaze inward with your eyes closed, or maybe your eyes need to be opened and they can settle upon a singular item, maybe the altar in the room, maybe the end of your nose, maybe something in your space. And then when you're ready, bring your attention to your breath and the way the body is receiving and releasing air. Breathing in, breathing out. For the month of May in the Spokane Sangha, we are exploring the 4 foundations of mindfulness. And if that's new to you, if you've never heard of what the 4 foundations are, this is an ancient teaching, and it is a way of bringing the mind to 4 different aspects of the human experience as a way of practicing present time awareness, which is mindfulness. What's happening right now? Not what happened before, not what could happen later, what's happening now. And those 4 aspects, those 4 focal points are the body. How is it feeling? How is it functioning? What's going on? Can you breathe toward any part of the body that might be tight or sour, stressed or fatigued? The second foundation is your emotionality, your mood. Is there a little bit of irritation? lingering on the sidelines of your mind and heart? Do you have joy, anger, fear? One of the reasons why this is such a powerful present time awareness to cultivate is we have a habit energy of trying to get rid of emotions that are challenging. We have stories and thoughts that maybe we shouldn't be feeling what we do. And so to come into mindfulness and allow our emotions to simply be is a practice. And so that is one of the points of mindfulness that we explore. Can I simply allow my emotions to be here? And this can be really uncomfortable, particularly for anyone who's been engaging in habit energy to numb those feelings, ignore those feelings, pretend they don't exist. When we make space for these emotions to rise up in the landscape of the heart and mind, it can be really overwhelming. So then we return to the body and our environment, and we remind ourselves in this moment, I'm in a community of practitioners. We are exploring the Dharma, ancient teachings of a human being who spent 40 years sharing about his understanding of suffering as it manifested in him and in the world that he saw around him. We can get up and get a drink of tea or water. If we're hungry, we can have something to eat. We can take care of the body even when the emotions are difficult. Likewise, the third foundation is the mind. What are your thoughts in this moment? When you reflect on sweet talking yourself, how does that land? Do you have a thought that actually manifests in a physical movement, such as rolling your eyes? Oh, geez, what is she talking about? That's so weird, so dumb. I don't want to do that. Wow, listen to all that. Look at those thoughts. Fascinating. Maybe you have a thought that is standing really stiff, saying, I've never sweet talked myself in my life. I wouldn't have the faintest idea how to do that. Well, I'm going to give you a hint in a minute. And then that quickly, if you're paying attention, what's so fascinating about these four foundations is, for my first person experience anyway, when I have a thought, it suddenly turns into a story. I don't know how to sweet talk myself. I've never sweet talked myself. I was told not to sweet talk myself. Blah, 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 blah. And the next thing I know, I'm in some story from my past. And those stories and perceptions shape the lens through which I see my reality. So we take time to spend time with these four foundations, to learn how to explore them, to learn how to be curious, to maybe even deconstruct thoughts and stories, to make lots of space for our emotions to rise and fall, to move the body and invite stillness in the body, to make sure the body is nourished and cared for. And we open to it all. For our practice today, I'd like to offer you an image. And for anybody who struggles to see things in the mind, I can't remember what it's called. We have a Sangha member who knows the name of this. It's difficult for them to conjure up images and visuals in the mind. And so I would just encourage you to take note of this imagery and see if you can find it in your gaze today. But it was inspired by a meditation that we were led through by Marty on Tuesday. And he invited us to play with a blackboard and different kinds of colored chalk and think about images and words. And the first color was the color red. And for me, the image was a tulip. A red tulip. And the word was, for me, open. And the feeling tone behind that was softness and sensuality and safety. And it made me think years ago, I had a memory pop up with my nephew who was visiting my farm, and we were out one morning really early taking care of the chickens, and we were passing by one of the gardens where a bunch of tulips were beginning to open to the conditions of the morning. The sun was rising, the air was warming up, and the soft petals of this tulip were slowly beginning to open up and receive the morning air. And as we looked inside these big red tulips, they have this beautiful starburst on the inside. You know, they're yellow usually. And inside was a sleeping bumblebee. And my nephew was about to scream and just be like, ew, yuck, a bee. And so I said, no, this bumble is sleeping. Let's say hello. Let's give it a little kiss and a little pet. And then, of course, his eyes bugged out. He's like, what? You're going to kiss this bumblebee? I have the craziest auntie. I didn't actually kiss it, but I did kiss my fingertip. And then I went down into that tulip and I gently pet the bumblebee as it slowly woke up and buzzed a little and stretched. And my nephew was completely enchanted by the experience. Good morning is a sweet talking way. And so we can turn that sweet, tender moment toward ourselves. And imagine if your heart was like a tulip, ripening, softening, opening, sensual in its energy of giving and receiving. You know, just put a tulip right at the level of the heart, front and back. You can't always see the wonderful energy that you're receiving and you're giving. It's behind you, but it's there all the time. And then imagine you could cultivate an environment of nurturance around it that is supported by the way you speak to yourself. Thich Nhat Hanh liked to use the word darling. My darling, how are you today? I'm talking to myself. my darling, how's your heart today? Is it still in a bulb, a tulip bulb form, covered by layers of thin, papery armor? There's no need to judge that if it is, because, darling, that thin, papery armor over the bulb of a tulip, when it's planted, is the bulb's food. Over time, it decomposes. It makes a beautiful nest to stabilize the bulb as the roots grow and as the new umbilical of this plant reaches and thrives and stretches skyward on a very strong spine stem. And when the tulip is young, it's tight. And then given the conditions, it softens and opens. And it creates refuge for other sentient beings. It creates nurturance, food. It creates beauty and pause. This metaphor of the tulip is also how compassion and love can and does reside in our own hearts. Today's meditation is an invitation for your mind. What do you think about this metaphor? What do you think about how it lives in you? And allow it to inspire your own wisdom and your own knowing. Maybe your softening and opening is a completely different image. Let that be for you. And celebrate it. Darling, look at the image that's authentic for me. May I open to it. May I soften to it. May I become a refuge, a sanctuary for myself and others. May the armor that has protected me slowly drop and support my new growth. What a beautiful way to talk to oneself. And I bring this forward just as a way of challenging the mind that's very used to saying things like, you just got to let this shit go. There's nothing wrong with saying that. However, when we say it over and over and over again, we stop listening to it. So by bringing forward new language, new sweet talk, we discover and we open new pathways to share our good hearts, to share and engage bodhicitta. And friends, I feel quite strongly about this. The world needs more heart, more beauty, more awareness of bumbles sleeping in tulips and people taking the time to give them a morning kiss. The world needs your sweet talk and the way your heart receives and gives. Take this in whatever way you can, and allow your mind to explore this for a few moments of silence and enjoy. Luca is sound asleep. Alrighty, I think that's good. Let's go ahead and end our practice today with a dedication of merit. Thich Nhat Hanh wrote a beautiful book called True Love, and it is his honoring of the limitless qualities, loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. And he has these phrases, these sweet talking phrases to address each of these qualities. It's a way of stepping into these qualities. For instance, to cultivate loving kindness, darling, I see that you are here and I am so happy. That's his phrase. And I bring this forward because imagine if we could say that to ourselves with that kind of friendliness, to create an environment in our own internal landscape where the seeds of that love, the seeds of that kindness could be planted and ripen, so that we could say to ourselves once in a while, darling me, I am here and I am so happy. That is what we are endeavoring to cultivate here today. And may that land in your mind and your heart in a gentle, beautiful way. May it act like a warm light that you bring into your day, radiating sweetness, love, kindness. May it touch all you encounter, including the bumbles resting in flowers, the dogs, the cats, the birds, other people. May they receive it, even if it comes from behind. May you continue your practice with this kind of radiant joy. And I hope to see you next time. Namaste, friends.